shiny with your coffee and cups ready. Before I officially kickstart the program, let me invite our district director, the one and only, the man with the teamwork makes the dream works. District Toastmaster DTM Nelson to open the session. Please help me welcome DTM Nelson Menezes.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. It's so nice and encouraging to see so many Toastmasters from District 105 attending the judges training. Yesterday, we had the contest training, and today we are all set to learn about judging in Toastmasters. It's a wonderful initiative, and by our district program quality director DTM Gurbinder and his entire team. Lot of preparation, lot of coordination, and believe me, today every member who's attending here and worldwide through our YouTube channel will take home a, a lot. They will have a lot of takeaways. So I wish every member and participant here today to involve yourself, ask questions, and get all clarification you need. Contest season is about to commence, and many invites have already been started floating in our district. I would like to tell all the district leaders, the club leaders, whoever are in organization, failing to plan is planning to fail. And what I mean by that, I strongly recommend the moment you all finalize your contest dates, please make sure that you look for your judges. Don't keep everything to the last moment. Plan ahead, plan well. And once you have planned well, I think many things take care of themselves. You will have a fabulous contest, a quality contest, and everybody will choose the right winner. So, my best wishes today to the successful training today and to the entire PQD team. You have done well. Kudos to you. I know the coordination, the dry runs you all have had, really commendable. And when DTM Gurbinder is at the helm, I have really nothing much to say because I know, having worked with him for almost 2 years, how meticulous he is in his planning. So I'm really happy about it. So good luck. Before we go ahead, this morning, on behalf of District 105, we would like to congratulate three Toastmasters who had their efforts, and congratulations from last year, that is 2019 2020. They were the shining stars of our entire district. And this morning, together, we will all join to congratulate them. To begin, there was one Toastmaster in the entire year who was a shining star, who went beyond her role as a club president. And when the online meetings were announced, there was lot of chaos. There was a lot of uncertainty. But this Toastmaster helped us to ease the process tremendously. It's not only in the online meetings, but round the year, she helped the area, the division, wherever required, she was there to support. And we had announced her name together as the outstanding Toastmaster of our district. Friends, this morning, let's hear from our outstanding Toastmaster, not of our club, not of the area, not of the division, for the entire district. Please, with a thundering round of applause, Toastmaster Sharon Kuruvilla to say a few words. Congratulations, Sharon, on behalf of entire District 105. A warm welcome to you.
Thank you, DTM Nelson, for this wonderful opportunity and for especially for making sure that I get this trophy. Even despite all the odds, he made sure that I get it as soon as possible. Thank you so much. It's been an honor, and I really think that it's an honor to be named as the outstanding Toastmaster of District 105. I thank the division B, especially the DTM Vinod Panikar for giving me the for sending my nomination. But altogether, it was wonderful. And for me, Corona, the pandemic was a blessing in disguise. As you said, DTM Nelson, it gave me the opportunity to find a new platform for myself. And it's actually an encouragement for all the Toastmasters that you can do it. Anybody, if I can do it, anybody can do it. So thank you once again for this big honor that you've bestowed on me. Thank you so much, sir. Over to you.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you, Sharon. Very aptly said. If Sharon can do it, everybody can do it. Give your best. Every Toastmaster in District 105 is giving their best, and we try continuing doing simple things in a great way. Thank you, and all the best, Sharon, for this year too as area director. Moving on, a club is formed part of an area. We had 47 areas last year in 2019, 2020, and one area director was leading her area exceptionally well. The education awards were over 100. She was leading by example, and most importantly, she added new clubs in support of the district mission. It was personal follow-up and my great interactions with her, where whenever I spoke to her, I found that she had full grasp of an area and she exactly knew how a area is doing. Friends, presenting our Area Director of the Year 2019-2020, help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster Janki Raghavan. Over to you, DTM Janki, to say a few words. Welcome.
Please unmute.
Sorry, yes. Thank you very much, District Director. A very good morning to one and all. It's indeed a huge honor. I'm humbled to receive this recognition. I accept this on behalf of every member of Area 12. All the 140 members of Area 12 came together to make this possible. The 8-letter mantra which made this possible was teamwork, and our area exemplified this. So, Team Area 12, thank you so much for making this happen. The trophy, which I do not hold, it's elsewhere, but the trophy belongs to all of us collectively. Your names are there on it in invisible ink. Thank you, Team Area 12. Back to you, District Director.
Thank you, Distinguished Toastmaster Janki. Congratulations. Indeed, teamwork makes our dream work. And together we can. That's the simple mantra in Toastmasters, be it club, area, division, or district. Well done. Moving on, we had one of the largest divisions in our district last year. This Toastmaster led the entire division by her example. Right from day one, she was so focused. She had the entire roadmap to reach where she wanted her division to reach. One of the commendable achievements during her term was, in spite of being the largest division in our district, every club officer had the COT trained. Believe me, 7 out of 7 of every club officer trained. In the second COT, one club missed with 1 point. Nevertheless, she was so focused that she had a personal aim to take her division to President Distinguished status by April 30th. And she worked towards it with an entire team of area directors. She led by example. A pillar of dedication. Today, she serves our district as our district public relations manager. Please help me welcome the 2019-2020 Division Director of District 105, Distinguished Toastmaster, Deepa Surendran. with a warm round of applause. Over to you, distinguished Toastmaster Deepa, to say a few words.
Thank you, Didi. Respected District Director DTM Nelson, Program Quality Director DTM Gurbinder, CGD DTM Rania, Deepa, Logistic Manager DTM Anil, Division Directors, Area Directors, past Division Directors, past Area Directors, all dignitaries present over here, and my dear fellow Toastmasters. I feel honored to receive this Division Director of the Year award. Toastmasters help people become better communicators and leaders. And opportunities we get over here to test our mantle, to test our metal is unimaginable. Once we show any interest to take up any leadership position, then the entire universe, the people around us, they conspire in helping us to achieve whatever dream we have. Last year, on one side, the district has been great in supporting all of us, the division directors, especially when we had to face that unforeseen situation. DD, PQD, CGD, and all the senior leaders, our mentors, helped us a lot in supporting our members achieve their goals of joining Toastmasters. On the other side, my area directors, division of all area directors, all DTMs, Shoaib, Brian, Nisha, Sudhir, Karthik, and Hashim, and the division team, DTM Dinesh, Radhika, and our advisor, DTM Wilson, and all the 23 presidents and their excom were all eager to support our members, help them transform themselves. On top of it, all these leaders were eager to help the non-Toastmasters, bringing them on board of Toastmasters, helping all of us transform together. Last year we had 6 new clubs added into Division F. That was our major success. That means lots of non-Toastmasters joined our community. It was great harmony in my Division F, the fantastic family, and it is now, and it will be the same in future too. I thank all my Division F family members and other Toastmasters who helped us to perform as one and achieve this award for us by becoming the best division. And I'm honored and fortunate to receive this award on your behalf. Thank you very much. Thank you. Back to you, District Director DTM Nelson.
Thank you. Thank you, DTM Deepa, and congratulations once again to Janki, Deepa, and Sharon. To all the Toastmasters present here from behalf of District 105, I would like to say the simple mantra at any level in Toastmasters is teamwork. You can achieve anything when you have like-minded people working for a common cause. So this year too, I'm mighty pleased. We are all working at every level, trying to create a difference in fellow Toastmasters as well as non-Toastmasters. Let's continue doing the same things in small. I always believe we need to do small things in a great way. So let's continue doing that. So now we continue with our judges training, and to take the proceedings further, may I request our Program Quality Director, Distinguished Toastmaster Gurbinder Singh Pan, to take over, and wishing him super success for this training. Back to you, Distinguished Toastmaster PQD DTM Gurbinder.
Thank you, DTM Nelson, and thank you very much for this beautiful opening of today's session. You have set the tone right, and we are going to make sure that all these 300 people who are logged in right now, and another 500 who are going to log in the next 1 hour, they will all get immense value from it. Before I start the session and invite my facilitators to lead, I want to acknowledge a few people who have helped us to run this training today. Obviously, the program quality team is always there, but this time we reached out not just to the program quality team, we reached out to other districts. And I'm very happy to have with us today the program quality director of District 121 from India, Vanita Rangarajan, who is perhaps one person whom I just texted once, and she reached out not only herself but with her whole team wholeheartedly to give us their best practices, share with us what they are doing, and as a result of which, we are able to bring these programs to you today. May I invite Vanita, if you are there, to please join us on the screen. Zoom Master, can you please help me to unmute Vanita?
Hello,
Yeah, it
everyone.
is done.
Thank you so much, distinguished Toastmaster Gurvinder. I'm very excited to be here as a part of the Judges Training Program of District 105. I just wanted to share a small story here. Gurvinder and I go 1 year before. We met at the convention the last year when both of us were CGDs, and we were in respective CGD breakouts. And so our friendship started there. I remember my first interaction with him was exchanging best practices from both our districts and seeing what each other can do better for the members. Now, it's beautiful that the same gesture has carried forward in the year that we both are PQDs as well. I'd like to acknowledge a few members here. And so before that, I want to thank Distinguished Toastmaster Gurvinder and Distinguished Toastmaster Nelson for this opportunity where two districts could come together and collaborate. We had one thing in mind: contests and quality. When we talked about quality contests, we needed to be absolutely sure that the best of the practices across our districts will be told to the members. And so that's exactly what we did during the brainstorming session that Distinguished Toastmaster Gurvinder had talked about. I wanted to acknowledge a couple of members from my district team, my contest team in District 121, who were also there in the dry runs and the discussions that we had about chief judges training, the contest management, and how we've all gone onto an online platform. So if the Zoom master could help me spotlight my contest coordinator for District 121, Distinguished Toastmaster Arjun Sundarraj. Now, he's someone who has known the contest rule book by heart, literally by heart. He's my go-to person when it comes to any questions on the contest itself, the rule book itself, for many, many years. And so it was only natural when I was PQD that he take care of the contest in District 121. So thank you for everything that you have done, Arjun. The second person that I wanted to acknowledge from my team is Toastmaster Azhar Khaidri. He has been the online tech moderator for my district annual conference the last year. And so he full on took care of the entire online conference. So he's been a pioneer. When we were just struggling to know what an online contest was, he was already a tech moderator and he was doing a lot of things right for the district. So he is my webinar coordinator, the Zoom master, or the master tech person in District 121 for here. And so he was here in the training as well. So these are the two people that I wanted to acknowledge from my team. A big shout out to a few more members from 105 whom you'll all know. I wanted to say thank you to Toastmaster Chetlur, Viju, Abdul, Shiny, Raminder, Nisreen, Ramsami, Jinesh, and if I've forgotten somebody, then I'm sorry. But these were the people that were there for every single of the meetings, brainstorming with us, asking us questions, just so that Gurvinder could put this together and give you the best quality training. Toastmasters is truly international. The Toastmaster spirit is truly global. It feels so great that total strangers can come together for one single cause, giving it back to the member. And this collaboration between 105 and 121 stands exact testimony to the same thing. Again, I wish you all an amazing judges training program. Thank you for the opportunity, and back to you, Distinguished Toastmaster Gurvinder.
Thank you so much, Vanita. Thank you, Azhar and Arjun, and all the members of District 121. We really, really appreciate. And thank you for joining us today. It's a Saturday morning in India. By the way, I'm also in India. I'm in Punjab right now. So now it's time to start the session. Let me start by giving a few opening guidelines for today's session for everybody's understanding. The plan for the day is we will first start with the judges training, which will be conducted by 2 members of program quality team, and a senior Toastmaster from the district, which will be followed by a chief judges training, which I will be conducting for you, followed by question answer sessions, and then closing. Since we have a large group of people today on the Zoom, we also invite you to go to YouTube if you would want. That's another good experience, and you can continue your session on the YouTube channel. Please make sure that your mics are muted. You have a good internet connection, and if you don't really need it, switch off your camera and have your coffee at your piece wherever you are. Minimize the distractions. This is a program quality team. This is a dream team that I have with me, and most of the people are right now working on this session today. Somebody is a Zoom master, somebody is working on the chat, and somebody is doing some other work. Okay, I think the screen annotations are on. Zoom master, you will need to work on that. Somebody has just crashed my screen. Don't do that. All right. These are the facilitators for today. Sanila Salim, you all know Sanila. She is one of the members of the program quality team, and she is such an exciting and enthusiastic person that she continues to work despite having difficult time. And I know right now she is in a home quarantine situation. She has a band on her hand, but still she is going to lead this session from her home. She's a finance specialist and a globetrotter by passion. Coffee, I know, is her favorite mood, and adrenaline really drives her. She's the president of Humoroids Toastmasters in Abu Dhabi and a member of the program quality team. So Sanila will be the one who will start today's session, and she will be followed up with one of the finest persons that we know in the district on the education side, DTM Sandeep Vengsarkar, who's a IT director of a very large conglomerate based out of Dubai. He's been a Toastmaster for 13 years, a member of City of Gold and Take Debate Toastmasters Club, a very, very passionate reader, and he loves old English movies. So that's Sandeep for you, and he will today be one of our facilitators. And then you know me. Those of you who don't know me, my name is Gurbinder. And those of you who know me, my name is still Gurbinder. And I will continue to be the PQD of this district for another few months to serve you as best as I can. Once again, let me thank everybody who has taken up time to join us today. We have 326 people in the training today, so that makes it the biggest training of the district so far this year. Give yourself a big round of applause for being here, and another 40, 50 on the YouTube. Thank you. Thank you very much. I also recognize and welcome our regional advisor, DTM James Taru, who is watching us live on the YouTube, not here. So with those, now it's time to get started. Sanila, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
All right. I hope you have your coffee right next to you. And let's get started. Please help me welcome our facilitator, number one, the number one Toastmaster, Sanila Salim.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Please bear with me as I share my screen. All right. Judges training. How about we take a detour and have a storytelling session instead? I know what you're thinking. The objective of a judges training is to be able to judge a speech contest and fulfill the role as a judge. But I assure you that even after our storytelling session, we will fulfill the objectives. So our story begins in a far, far away, a magical kingdom. Here comes our Toastmaster Jay in a shiny armor, and he begins to, just a second. Oh. Well, a participant just messaged me saying that the introduction was a little exaggerated and he kind of got bored. So let me make it realistic. Toastmaster Jay is a good friend of mine. Obviously, we love our coffee times But that's not it. He's a very fun-loving adrenaline junkie. He loves skydiving, bungee jumping, and whatnot. But there's one thing that makes him special. He's so popular among the Toastmaster fraternity because he loves going to speech contests as a judge. So when I asked him, what is that he loves about speech contest, he told me that it provides a competitive speaking experience for the members and serves as an education session for all the interested parties. But that is not what he likes most. He says that even as an audience, you learn a lot by listening to proficient speakers. Apparently, isn't that the purpose of a speech contest? It provides a competitive speaking experience for Toastmasters, provides interesting education programs for the members, and provides the audience an opportunity to learn by observing. Toastmaster Jay loves speech contest and being a judge, but he knows that he has obligation to certain parties. He feels he's obligated to the contestants, to the Toastmaster International, to the audience, and themselves. Let's look at what those obligations are. For the contestants deserve a professional performance by the judge. They expect fair and impartial judgment. Toastmaster International is known for its reputation for excellence in speech training and speech contest. By giving a bad decision, it creates an animosity and demeans the organization, the leaders, and its officers. To the audience expects a good speech contest. And when a disappointing and a bad judgment is made, the audience feels cheated. They get discouraged from participating and attending a speech contest. And finally, to themselves, because the judge have committed for self-improvement and learning, he needs to stay dedicated to his role as a judge. That's not all about Toastmaster Jay. Toastmaster Jay is an award-winning and a recognized evaluator. He loves evaluation, but he knows to draw a fine line between judging and evaluation. Let's say I have a small interactive session, and I request the participants to let me know what you think about an evaluation is about from your experience. So I would love to see your response in the chat box, and we can look at the evaluation and discuss further. May I have some of the responses in the chat boxes, please? And I have some problems with seeing the chat box. May I ask the Zoom master if he can read out the responses as well?
Evaluation is all about adding values.
Perfect. Thank you. May I know whose response?
Evaluation is feedback.
Great.
So many messages are coming. You please go ahead.
Okay, no, I still can't see the chat box. So maybe I would appreciate if you can read out a few more responses.
Okay. Genuine encouraging feedback.
Great.
And then evaluation is feedback for improvement. Evaluation is what we see, what we heard, and what we felt.
Perfect. Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes, now I can see my chat box and I see a lot of responses, and I really thank all of you for that responses. Yes, all of you are absolutely right. To summarize, evaluation is about providing a feedback, apprising a speaker, but judging is completely different from that. Judging is all about making a decision on who is the winner. As we go a little more deeper, judging decides the winner based on the ballot paper and the specific criteria, whereas an evaluator measures the performance against the purpose of the speech, gives suggestions and tips on how to improve the speech. The most important thing, what I would like to highlight here is that always a judge's decision is highly confidential. I repeat, highly confidential. No matter who the contestant is, your contestant could be a close ally, your friend, your relative, but always, we do not discuss or provide any tips on how to be a better speaker. So in bold, judges' decisions are always confidential. And yes, I can see the final response by Toastmaster Basma. Yes, judging is all about finding that winner. Thank you so much for your interaction. And let's go a little more ahead. So Toastmaster J is, like I said, is widely loved among the Toastmaster fraternity. There are certain attributes that make him special and unique in his own way. So let me ask you this, my dear Toastmasters. If you were a contestant, what are the qualities that you expect to see in your judge? I repeat, if you were a contestant, what are the qualities you expect to see in a judge? I would love to see your responses in the chat box. Yes, I see it coming: unbiased, integrity, impartial, fair, calm, fairness and frank, honest, transparency. Yes, we have some amazing responses coming over. Humane, fair and square, honest, experienced to judge, good listener. I have some amazing responses coming in here. Thank you so much. Honest, according to the ballot. Yes, very important, correct judgment. Exactly, you guys know it all. So let's discuss some of the qualities our Toastmaster J possess. Starting with, he's accurate. He's accurate in making the correct decision. And like how most of my friends mentioned here, he fills the ballot paper accurately and completely. He's fair. Yes, one of the points I saw a lot. He's fair and he knows to make an impartial judgment. All the bifactors like friends, religion, sex, caste, all of this does not come in his way of judging. He makes an impartial judgment. Trustworthy, absolutely, because he knows that his contestants trust him in making the best decision. Knowledgeable, he stays up to date with the rule book. He knows what a ballot paper is and how to fill a ballot paper correctly. And most importantly, the most important quality our Toastmaster J possesses is that he is a great listener. He knows how to keep away from all sort of distractions and give his complete attention to the speaker. And that makes him a wonderful judge. But that's not it. Our poor friend also goes through a lot of hurdles, obstacles while making a judgment. But he knows to recognize those barriers, keep his mind free, and make a judgment. Let's look at some of the obstacles our Toastmaster J goes through. Speaker position. Sometimes when you receive a series of lists with a lot of contestants, we tend to remember the last person in the list quite easily. And sometimes we remember the first person as the reference point versus the middle person. So we need to pay attention to make sure that we remember each person in the list and stay away from distraction. Second one, champion for the underdog. When I say an underdog, I mean a person who's a little weaker, but who puts forth more effort. Sometimes you see a person who tries to put a lot of effort and tries his best, and he might look like he have a more opportunity to win versus a strong or a worthy opponent. But as a judge, we need to keep away any such biases and make sure we always follow the judging ballot when we make a decision. Funny enough, this was one incident our Toastmaster Jay experienced while judging. He went to a club and he saw a contestant. This contestant had an amazing hair make do, a beautiful outfit, and a persona that kind of filled up the entire room. It was so dynamic. Toastmaster Jay was so glued to this contestant. But Toastmaster Jay knows that all of these factors does not make him decide who the winner is. It's all about the ballot paper. Toastmaster Jay knows to distinguish what is important while making a judgment. And that's what we call by halo effect. We do not go by the attributes that we like in a person, but as per the rule book. Likewise, he found another contestant with a very funky dressing sense and hair all over the face, and it was pretty distracting. There was a lot of accessories. It was difficult for Toastmaster Jay to make a judgment because all of this was distracting him. But again, Toastmaster Jay knows that it's not all of these factors. It's about always following the ballot paper, the rules and guidelines. Such attributes does not define a speaker or make him a winning or a losing contestant. So we looked into speaker position, champion for the underdog, halo effect, and reverse halo effect. Let's look at few more challenges that our Toastmaster Jay goes through. Second time around, sometimes we have a contestant who competes in different contests during the same contest cycle, or he would have seen him in the previous year. So like I said earlier, a judge's role is to judge based on the current performance and not to evaluate. So we need to keep our evaluation beside, not measure the performance, but judge that person for that particular performance as per the ballot paper. Not the norm. Sometimes we might come across a lot of cultural or regional differences. Some speakers would like to speak behind the lectern. Maybe that's how they are trained. Some speakers love to walk around. In the Zoom session, some speaker, just like me, finds it comfortable to sit and speak. Some person would love to stand and speak. All of these should not come in the way of judging. It has to be based on the ballot paper to pick the winner. Prejudices and personal preferences. We are all human beings. It's difficult to keep our subjectivity completely away. Every judge has their own taste and flavor. So that is why we have a panel of judges who goes to make an objective decision as much as they can. So like I said about all the barriers, it all compiles into a bit of prejudices and personal preferences. They need to keep their preference separate. And like I have repeated a lot right now, it's always the ballot paper. This is something now we're going. It was not a problem during the BC times. I meant before Corona. Comfort with technology. You see certain contestants who are tech savvy and they have an amazing background or a virtual background. And you can see a less technical person like me who has my wall and a plain background. Some people have an amazing audio and mic set. Some people do not. But as a judge, we need to realize that this is not, again, what sets them to be a best speaker or a winning speaker. It's about always the rules. So knowing these barriers, it makes us make a right decision in picking the winner. Just like how our district director, DTM Nelson, said, teamwork makes the dream work. Toastmaster Jay always goes in a team, and his team consists of chief judge, the voting judge, and the tiebreaker judge. The chief judge picks the judges, the voting judges, and provides judges briefing. A voting judge decides the winner, and the tiebreaker judge ranks the speakers. These are the few basic rules of the judging roles. And finally, it's really, really and always important to know the rules, follow the handbook, and avoid any misconceptions. Recently, when Toastmaster Jay went to a club, he came across a discussion that was going on. And the discussion was that an international speech has to be inspirational or motivational. But our Toastmaster Jay was quick to jump in and correct them that no, it's completely a misconception. An international speech can also be humorous. The rule book says it has to be substantially original, and that's all it matters. So it's very important to know the rule book and always read the rule book and make a decision, because such norms goes around like fables and fairy tales, and we need to keep our mind out of all of this. Now that I'm speaking a lot about Toastmaster Jay, you might be wondering who this person is, right? Toastmaster Jay is there within us as a judge. When we go to a contest, our contestants expect us to be true. So we value their effort, we respect them, and we appreciate them by making the right decision. We need to understand the rules. We need to know what is the best way and the right way to make a judgment. And like any happy story, our Toastmaster Jay happily judged ever after. Thank you so much. And it's over to DTM Sandeep for the rest of the session.
Thank you, Toastmaster Sanila. Give me a minute to share my screen. Okay. Now, Toastmaster Sanila told us a story about Toastmaster Jay. And she said he went and judged happily ever after. Now, the most interesting part about his judging happily ever after, the first question he asked everyone is, what is the tool that I have to judge? Because if you're asking me to do a role, you're asking me to do something, but I need a tool to perform my role better. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the tool which is called the ballot paper. Now, this is the main tool for a judge to provide and perform his responsibilities the way it is expected to be performed. And the next session of about 45 minutes to an hour is going to concentrate on this one tool set. Let's look at the tool set in general. Now, if you look at this tool set, there is the marking section, which is the top section of the tool set. And there is a bottom section, which is the provision of the results to the chief judge. In addition to this, there is a detailed in terms of what each one of the components of the sections means and what is an indication for you to give some points for the contestants. On the top are the names of the 10 contestants. If there are more than 10 contestants as a judge, we are allowed to use multiple sheets. Now, as we go forward, the moment Toastmaster Jay took on his first judging role, what he was handed out was this ballot sheet. And this ballot sheet happened to be the ballot sheet for the International Speech Contest. What would we tell him? How would he go about doing his role to the best of his ability? The first recommendation to Toastmaster Jay is to have enough paper with him to take notes, especially in contests where you have significantly large number of contestants. This becomes your tool set to finally decide the final winner and someone who has just made it in or someone who just needs to be left out. And these notes become very important. I will maybe touch upon it a little later during the course of my session. The second one, the next question he asked is, okay, you've given me some indications on the points, but how do I now give these points out? How do I judge one contestant against the other? Now, there are different judges who follow different mechanisms. One is use the point values the way they are expected to be. Use them at a level and to give them at a number which you think are the ones which the person should get for each one of those components. The other one is to do what I call as a relative grading. So normally, and a lot of peer judges do follow this, is you judge the first contestant somewhere in the middle of the scale. And then using a relative grading proposition across the contestants, ensure that you put a number which is depending on how better or how less better the person did with the first contestant that was evaluated. Now, this is a comfort level that each one of us needs to take, and this is something that we do over a period of time as we gain experience in our judging journeys. Now, one thing you need to remember is the following. You don't need to send the top of your working sheet to anyone. It is for you and needs to be destroyed. It is the bottom part which needs to go to the chief judge. And in the chief judge's training, that is something that DTM Gurbinder will cover in a bit of detail. Remember that you tally the points at the bottom so that use a calculator. And this is something which is very important even in an Excel world. Sometimes the Excel formulas go for a 6, but it's important that you at least cover that and ensure that the points tally is complete, because that makes a difference between judging a person as a winner or a runner-up. Now, let's go into, Zoom Master, could you please send out the ballot sheets of the international speech and the humorous speech to all members attending? So let's look at the first ballot sheet, which you should get as a part of the group chat at the moment, which is the international speech contest. And very similar to the international speech contest is the humorous speech contest, divided into 3 broad categories: the content, the delivery, and the language. The content basically has around 50% of the marks. A little different when you go on to the humorous speech, and I will come down to that a little later. Delivery, which is around 30 points, and language, which is around 20 points. Now, what is content, what is delivery, and what is language, and what are the indications for me to judge?
Sir, audio is missing.
Sorry? Is it missing for
good,
everyone?
Sir, you are perfect.
Yeah. So, okay.
No, sir, you are perfect. Carry on.
Okay. So what is content? What is delivery? What is language? And how do I grade people? What are the key points that I, as a judge, should look for when I'm looking at content? Now let's go into a little more detail on the international speech category. Now, content has got 3 components. One, speech development, the effectiveness, and the speech value. Now, what I've done here is on this slide brought you a snapshot of what comes up as a part of that judging sheet that you must have just received. The ones in yellow is what I feel are the most important points for us to look for as judges when we are evaluating an international speech. It should be one single speech with one single theme, and not a combination of multiple components just coming together to fill up a time of 7 minutes. It has to be supported by relevant examples and illustrations, facts and figures, and relevant, which is appropriate. When we go into mention something called relevant, it means it has to be appropriate to the speech theme, and it has to match what the speech theme is all about. And the last point in the speech development is to present it to the audience as a unified whole. So if you sitting there as a judge feel that it has flown through like a very nice story, similar to what Toastmaster Selena told us earlier, that is an example of a speech which is a good theme speech right across. A lot of this I understand is a matter of subjectivity to the individual judge, but as long as that subjectivity is consistent across the multiple speakers that we have, I think we as judges have done a very good job in terms of grading our speakers. The next is the effectiveness. And it's very clearly mentioned even in the ballot sheet that this is a subjective judgment. But how do I enforce this subjective judgment? Is there something that did I at the end of it really understand or what the speaker was going to say? Was he trying to give me a message and did I get that message very clearly? Or did I lose the message somewhere in between as a part of that 7-minute speech and somewhere I lost it? Or was that something which got diluted over the period of time of that 7-minute speech? And whatever the message the individual was trying to do, did that speech actually relate completely to the message? Now, these are some of the indicators that we as judges can look for when we are trying to mark someone on the effectiveness criteria. And the last one is the speech value. Is this something where tomorrow when I walk back from my judging seat, get up from my judging seat and go back home, is this something which I will remember? The next time when I get a situation like this, is this something that will come at the top of my mind and say, okay, contestant so and so mentioned this in his speech. Is this something which I can take value back into something meaningful and original? Now, these are the kinds of things that will help you assess the speech value. And again, as I said, this is subjective to every individual, but again, which has to be consistent across multiple contestants. Now let's go on to the next one. This would have typically given you 50 points as the from a to judge. The next one is the delivery. Now, this was a lot more easier in a physical world, has become a little more difficult in an online world. Is the first part is the physical, where you're talking about the whole body language of the person. And if I were to relate it, it all depends on the physical presence of the person. What has happened in an online world, unfortunately, as that physical presence has been restricted to that small viewing area of the camera. But we as judges have to take that component out of our whole judging criteria and ensure. So whatever was that space that the contestant had, did the contestant use that space effectively? And was that to a purpose? Was that appropriate to the purpose of the speech? It was not generally using space for the sake of using it, but it was more important, related to the purpose of the speech. He moved only when it was required to move, and not move because he knew that there were 10 points to be given for physical appearance. So this is the one thing which we as a judge should be able to do. The next one is obviously the voice. Very similar to the first one, the voice modulation. Did the emotion of the speech, did the expression of the speech have the right level of voice modulation in terms of pitch, in terms of delivery? And was this something also that came out across as a part of the delivery of the person's speech? And the last one, obviously, is the enthusiasm. Did the person come in with an impression? Did we get an impression that what this person was talking about is something that he himself or she herself believed in completely and was delivering it, and it was coming from the heart or the mind, which the person really was interested in communicating back to us? Now, this is typically giving us 30 points of the delivery. Now, let's go on to the language. The language has got two things: appropriateness and correctness. Now, the one appropriateness is a lot more easier. We look for what is the richness of the language. Did the language really clarify the speech and bring the speech and put it in front of us on a platter and said, look at this. This is what I have come, and for it is very easy for us to understand from a speech perspective. The grammar part, and this is where perhaps a lot of times we as judges, especially in this part of the world, get a bit unclear about is, do we give a credit to a person because he is a non-native, he's not a native English speaker? Now that is something that we will need to look at very critically. If we do that, then we are actually bringing in an halo effect into our judging. So the grammar has to be correct. The pronunciation has to be correct. And when I say pronunciation and grammar, I'm talking one part. I'm not talking accents. Accents are a different situation altogether. And we need to recognize the accent definitely. But when we're talking about correctness in terms of grammar, I think that definitely needs to come in. So this is about the language, and this is about the appropriateness of the language to the speech, which gives us 20 points. Now, the ballots of the international speech contest and the humorous contest, which you might have received in the chat by now, are very, very much similar. The only difference is this one thing, one bullet, which is in red on the right-hand side, which is called the audience response. Now, this audience response is valued at around 15 points in the humorous speech contest. So it was always, and this was always a challenge in a physical world. It has become a bigger challenge in an online world. In a physical world, it was a challenge because the audience response could have been fixed by having people sitting across the room at laughing at every single humor thing that was coming up. But in an online world, it becomes a different challenge because we don't really hear the audience response. So what is a recommendation? The recommendation is, if we are judging from an online perspective, did that thought, did what the person present, did it bring a smile to your face? Or were you able to laugh? And what was your own reaction to this whole thing is what needs to come up as a part when you start judging a person in this thing. Some of the things, key things on a humorous contest: a humorous speech is not just a collection of humorous anecdotes related to an incident or multiple incidents. It has to have the same. If you look at the speech development, if you look at the effectiveness and the speech value, you virtually see the same examples and the same description between the international speech and a humorous speech. It cannot be a series of WhatsApp jokes, or sometimes, as I see now, WhatsApp jokes modified suitably by putting up yourself within the joke so that it doesn't look like a WhatsApp or an joke downloaded from the internet. The key thing is a single theme which goes across the whole speech purpose. And that is what is important from a humorous speech perspective. So this is international speech. This is the humorous speech. What we are going to do now for the next 15 minutes is a breakout room activity. The Zoom Master has created breakout rooms, and you should get an invitation to move into the breakout rooms. And in this breakout room, we want you to look at the international speech contest ballot. Look at it for about 15 minutes. Read the description for each judging criteria, the way I had indicated earlier, and discuss within your group what it means. Do it for about 15 minutes. Then look at the humorous speech contest ballot and see whether there are any differences between the two. And if there are, what were these differences? And how would you address these differences in the next time you are going out there as a judge? So that's the session for now in terms of what we wanted to cover. I'm just going to have a quick look at the questions. There doesn't seem to be any questions at the moment. So let's Zoom Master, could you move everyone into the ballot room? We will then come back, and if anyone has any questions, can you please put them on the chat, and we will see whether we address it during the later part of the session. So Zoom Master, all yours to move people into the breakout rooms.
Toastmaster Sandeep, 1 minute. I think the ballot papers need to be placed. We're just working on it. Give us a minute, please.
Yeah. So if there is any question, in the meantime, just put it in the chat and we'll try to address it.
Sandeep sir, I'm making 30 rooms. It's okay, or you want?
Yeah, I'm fine. One question from Toastmaster Zaki: are contestants required to stand or sit as per the norm of Toastmasters International, they are expected to be visible waist up. And that means effectively they should be standing and delivering their speeches. Question from Toastmaster Ali: should we not change the weightage for the criteria for online contests? Unfortunately, we all want and we all hope that these online contests are temporary, and this is something that we definitely need to take into account. And since the criteria are what are given by Toastmaster International, I don't think we should touch them at the moment. But I will. We can take that question later on if required.
Sir, can I open the room?
Yeah, please. I'll just answer one last question from Toastmaster Ahanya. The question was, just one second. I'm losing the question now in the flurry of questions coming through.
DTM Sandeep.
Yeah.
We'll have to do one small change because the PDFs of the ballot paper are not getting pasted in the chat.
Okay.
We are trying to get the link of the ballot papers and we will paste them here. So before we move people to breakout room, just wait for a minute.
Yeah, so can we then, in the interest of time, DTM Gurvinder, shall we move ahead and finish the one for the table topics and evaluation, and then do both the activities in one shot?
It'll just take a minute. Just give me.
Okay, no worries. Okay, I will wait for a minute. So in the meantime, Toastmaster Ahanya, is it considered appropriate if they sit? As per the TMI guidelines, if you look at the rule book, no, because the TMI guidelines say they should be standing and speaking and should be visible waist upwards.
So this is a link for the humorous speech contest ballot. Just please click and try if you can download it.
Okay, there are quite a few other questions. We will take that up after the breakout room. Can we, if everyone is able to download the links, we can start moving people into the breakout room. I will leave it to the Zoom master.
Okay, request everybody to please download these two ballot papers. One is a humorous one and one is an international one. And then within next 60 seconds, we will move you to the breakout room. You have 60 seconds to download both the ballot papers. You will be using these in the ballot in the breakout room. Please download these. Thank you. Please confirm on the chat you have done that. Great. You can see some people have done it. Great. Thank you. Thank you for the confirmation. Thank you.
So there might be a tiebreaker ballot in there. It is the same ballot, so don't worry about the criteria. We will talk about what is the difference between a tiebreaker ballot and another ballot when we come back. But from a criteria perspective, everything remains the same. So don't worry about that at the moment.
Okay, Mr. Zoom Master, please open the breakout rooms. Thank you.
Done.
Toastmaster Sandeep, this first breakout room will be still continue at 20 minutes?
Yes, yes. At 20 minutes, just close the room. Give them a 1 minute notice and please close the room.
Okay. Thank you. Zoom Masters, I will display the signal in the main room with red color. The moment I do that, you can start closing the rooms. I'll do it at 19 minutes.
Thank you.
Raminda Singh ji, any support required?
No, Ichi. Okay, thank you. Already rooms are made and people are going there.
Okay.
Or if you can go somewhere and just see how they are doing it. Well, you are
Okay. I can join only to my room number 19 only.
okay. But you are co-host, na? You can do it like that.
No, I'm not able to. Let me go there. But what we need to do inside the breakout room?
No, just see how things are going. That's
okay. Yeah, I can join in anywhere else.
Yeah, yeah.
So those who have not been able to join the breakout room so far, please check on your screen. You would have got a message, an invitation to join a breakout room. You need to press the accept on that. Yeah, so whatever message you got, just click on accept and you will go, or you came out of that. Okay, so now we'll put you back. Zoom Master, please help me to manually transfer people to one of the rooms. Is it possible to move people to the breakout room? Ramaswamy, are you there?
I'm here, sir. But the host has the full control, sir.
So,
Raminda Singh has to help you.
okay, Raminder, can you check if we can manually transfer people to the breakout rooms? Yeah, we're trying to find it out, all those who have not reached the breakout room, because another 350 people have actually entered the breakout rooms. So we will have to now do it manually for each one of you. Please bear with us. The Zoom masters are trying to help us. Thank you.
Sir, one question. All there in the breakout rooms, but they're asking what they wanted to do.
We told them, right? We wanted them to go through the ballot sheet and look for, go through it, read each one of the things, and
Okay, I think they are.
Can we broadcast a message for the breakout rooms from here?
Yeah, I think the host can do that.
Raminder? Raminder, are you there?
I'll just go one by one. I'll tell, sir, wherever I can possibly.
Raminder, are you there? I'm sorry, Rajshekharan, we are not able to sort out the breakdown. You will have to please stay here in the meanwhile. Okay, what I suggest is that in the meanwhile, please open the ballot papers. Those of you who are in the main room, please open the ballot paper that have been given to you and go through the definitions given on page 2 of the ballot paper. We can do that here in the meanwhile. Please, everybody.
Yeah, this is the exercise we're asking them to do. So whoever is in this room,
Zoom Master, I think it's time you can give the signal to close the breakout room. Chetlur?
So as per the timing, we're just about 11 and a half minutes into the session.
Okay, fine. Then we have about 3 minutes to go.
Sure.
No, 3 + 5 for humorous as well. Yeah, so
Yes.
8 minutes to go. Chetlur, I think we are a little behind time. So in the interest of time, we can stop the breakout activity now.
Sure, sir. Sure.
Okay. Zoom Master, could you please give breakout room closure message?
all the leaders are taking care, sir, in each and every rooms. I think there is no issues at all. They are discussing based on that.
Okay, thank you, Ramaswamy.
Few rooms they were discussing what to do, so I just gone into a couple of rooms and said that to discuss about the ballot papers. And I told that put the question answer session in the chat box so people will answer for your questions.
Thank you, Ramaswamy.
Yes, sir.
Zoom master, we can request all the members to please come back to the main room. 1 minute is up.
Have we closed the breakout rooms?
Raminder is not here, sir. I think we can do that. Time is up.
Yeah, you can do, Ramaswamy?
No, sir.
Okay, Raminder is, I can see him.
Raminder
think
is
he's
also
back.
going each and every room. Raminder ji, up, you back? Yeah, he's back now. Raminder ji, can you please close the breakout rooms? Hello? Raminder ji? No, he's not there. Again, he gone to some other room. Let me search him. Raminder ji? Zoom master?
Send him a WhatsApp, no? Or give him a call.
Guys.
I did send a WhatsApp to him.
Okay, sir. He's roaming around all the rooms. That's why he could not catch.
Yeah. So you will be. This is that movie Catch Me If You Can.
So the people have started coming back.
Yeah.
All breakout rooms are closed, sir. It will close in 30 seconds. So please be ready, sir.
Yeah, yeah. I am. Okay, I think we have most of the people back, 308 participants I can see.
Now all will be back, sir.
Yeah.
Because our Chrome is closed.
Okay, so I'm just starting now. So
After
welcome back.
2 minutes.
Yeah.
After
Okay.
just it's just joining. Yeah, please start, sir. Oh, I think almost over.
Okay, welcome back. I'm sure all of you had a fairly fruitful session in the breakout rooms trying to go through those criterias on the ballot sheet. As a recommendation, every time we take up the judge's role, it's important that we go through this criteria for all the contests that we have. Now, going back to Toastmaster J, which Toastmaster Sanila made famous in her initial construct. Now, going by what we have done till now, he was more or less okay to go with the international speech contest and the humorous speech contest. But then the next time he was asked to come in and judge a table topics and an evaluation speech contest. So what are the key things that we need to look for in a table topics contest and a evaluation speech contest? So let's move ahead and look and cover these two. If you look at the table topics and the evaluation speech contest, the criteria and the numbers are slightly different. If you look at the table topics contest, it is very close to what you would have seen as a part of the international speech contest, because at the end of it, a table topic speech is expected to be a speech in itself, complete in itself. And we will get into a little bit of detail on that in the next slide. And an evaluation speech contest is basically how do you evaluate how do you rate the evaluation done by the contestant of a third person speech. And this has got the 4 broad criteria of analytical quality, recommendations, technique, and summation. And we will look at this in a little more detail later. So Zoom Master, could you please send out the ballots of the table topics and the evaluation contest to all the attendees? You should receive the table topics evaluation ballot sheet in your chat box now, and you should also receive the evaluation ballot sheet in your chat box. Now let's look at the specifics. In the table topic speech contest, there is a content which constitutes around 55% of the total 100 marks that could be given potentially to a contestant. And as you would have seen, the first part is again very much similar to what we saw in an international speech contest. It has to be coming to you looking as if it is one single speech on a topic that has been given by the contest chair to the contestant. It has to be, as always, supported by relevant examples and illustrations and facts and figures. The second part, which is the effectiveness, and the one which I have marked in green, is something which is the most important for us to judge, and perhaps sometimes the most difficult for us to judge, in terms of did the speech relate to the question or the topic. So we call it attacking the topic, or basically circumventing the topic and taking it somewhere to where I am comfortable to talk on. One of my Toastmaster colleagues, DTM Vinod Panikar, always gives the example of the cow and the tree. So at a table topics contest, if you are asked to talk about a tree, you talk about a cow, take it and tie it below the tree and start talking about the cow. Now that is not relating the question or the topic. That is not attacking the topic. And that is something we as judges should be able to judge as a part of the speech development and the effectiveness criteria. Delivery, very similar to what we saw in the international speech contest or the humorous speech contest. I mean, in terms of whatever can reinforce the person's response to the topic is what we need to evaluate on. And these are things which if we have done an international speech contest or a humorous speech contest, these are the two areas which we should be fairly comfortable with. Finally, the language, the appropriateness and the correctness. Now, the one which I marked in yellow is, and also the delivery, is what is appropriate to the speech topic. Now, this is where it always becomes a challenge in table topics speech contest, when you have two contestants, one who has attacked the topic but has not been very great in terms of the delivery as well as the language. As against that person, another person who has circumvented the topic but has done a brilliant job in delivery and language. Now, most important for us as judges to judge is both the physical, the voice, the appropriateness and correctness should be relevant to the speech topic and should be supporting the speech topic and not to be counted on our in separation of their own. And this is this I am sure will come as a part of practice, but that's something which always gets a bit of a challenge every time we judge a table topics contest. And especially when you go to some club meetings and where there are 20 contestants which we are expected to judge because the president has forced every member to take part in the table topic speech contest. If you are a judge, I really pity all the judges who become a part of the table topics speech contest. So this is the table topics ballot sheet. Now let's go on to the evaluation ballot sheet. Now the evaluation ballot sheet only has got 4 criteria: the analytical quality, the recommendations, the technique, and the summation. Now, if you go back to one of the slides that Toastmaster Sanila put in, we as judges are judging the evaluation that we are done. We are not actually going and evaluating the target speaker on our own. I think that is a clear differentiation of rules that we need to have when we start evaluating an evaluation speech contest. The other things which are important from an evaluation speech contest are the ones which I have marked in green. The analytical quality is analyze the strengths and weaknesses, but most importantly, the key word there is specific strengths and weaknesses of the presentation. And I think that is the key when you start delivering a proper evaluation. Having a person coming in and saying your voice modulation was good, your physical presence was good, your transition was perfect is a good evaluation, but I would still have a challenge with making it from a specificity perspective. And I think that is what we need to look at from a judging perspective. Recommendations, very similar to what we had in the analytical quality of this thing. Practical, helpful, and positive recommendations which the speaker can take home and immediately implement. So it has to be, again, I'm going back to the same thing which I made in the analytical quality, is in terms of specificity. Us, the evaluator, telling a target speaker that you could improve on your voice modulation, the target speaker cannot take that home and start working on that immediately. He or she doesn't know what that voice modulation, where he or she should improve the voice modulation. And this is where we come back. They should be able, the speaker, to improve his or her next presentation. And that is something that we as judges should definitely bring as a part of our judging criteria. Technique, sensitive to the feelings of the speaker. The way I look at it, the key words that we as judges should look for, what makes an evaluation sensitive is the use of words like I recommend or I would have loved it, instead of saying you did not do this, this was missing in your speech. Now these are, from my perspective, are typically not the sensitive words that person would use. The sensitivity comes in the way, the language that the evaluator uses when evaluating the target speaker. And finally, and this is something which always the evaluation contestants miss out on, is the summary. Invariably, and I have also been a party to this challenge, is that we end up with a 3-minute and with nowhere to go, we see red, and the contestant invariably says, overall a nice speech, all the best for your next one. Now, summary has got 15 points, and I think this is something that we need to very clearly ensure that is there as a part of the contestant's evaluation speech. So that is in terms of the evaluation ballot. So as of now, we have covered all the 4 ballots. You have all the 4 ballots with you at the moment. If you have any questions on any one of the 4 ballots, do put it in the chat, and we will take it up during the final Q&A session after the Chief Judge's training is over. Now let's go on to the protest rules. Now, Toastmaster Sanila covered it briefly as a part of her training. Only protests are only limited to voting judges and contestants. And if whoever raises the protest, it is his or her responsibility to justify that process and prove that process. It is that person, that's the number one. The protest must be lodged with the chief judge or the contest chair prior to the announcement of the winner. So only a judge or a contestant can raise it, and that is how it can be done. For humorous speech, for international speech contest, a protest can be on the basis of eligibility as well as originality. For the purpose of the tabletop speech contest and the evaluation speech contest, the protest can only be on the basis of eligibility. When a protest is raised, the voting judges, a majority of the voting judges who the chief judge will concur with, must concur to the decision for a person to be disqualified. And the contest chair can disqualify a contestant on the basis of eligibility. So for an online speech contest, there were a few questions. How do we take care of any technical issues in an online speech contest? I think Toastmaster Sanila has already covered quite a bit of it as a part of her training. The key thing for we as judges to remember is that a lot of what happens in the part of a technical glitch will be covered by the individual chief judges as a part of their chief judge briefing, and that's something that we should follow. As judges, we will only judge what comes to us as a speech. We will not be looking at whether the person had or did not have a good internet connection. And I think that's what Toastmaster Sanila also mentioned as one of the barriers to objectivity that we should take care of as a part of our judging role. And as judges, it is our responsibility to take care of our own connectivity. And if at any point of time we feel that we are not in a position to judge a particular speech, I think it's important that we mention that to the chief judge, who can then take the necessary appropriate action. But if at the end, if during the course of a speech, we feel that we have lost 30 seconds of the speech, which basically hampers us from evaluating that speech, I think we have to basically own up to that and mention that to the chief judge in the interest of fairness to the contestant. The ballot tally, I mentioned this, that you only need to send the bottom part. It is ensure that the ballot is, and I think the chief judge will cover this as a part of his or her training. If not, we will come back to this at the end of it. All judges, my recommendation, ensure that you go through the speech contest rule book completely and ensure that you have it, and you also ensure that you have the latest one which is available to you. Okay, any questions, please put them in the chat. We will cover them after the next session. And now I would like to hand over the virtual stage to DTM Gurbinder to start with his chief judge's training. Over to you, DTM Gurbinder.
Thank you, DTM Sandeep. That was a very, very informative and well conducted session. Let's give DTM Sandeep a big round of applause virtually, wherever we are. What we're going to do next is we're going to take a short break, a bio break. We'll refreshen ourselves, and then I will start the Chief Judge's training. To begin the break, we will have another activity. As I mentioned in the beginning of session today, we will request you to please fill up a Zoom, a Google form to confirm your attendance for today's session. The form is pasted now in the chat box. If you had not done it at the beginning of the session, please do it now. This form will ensure that your attendance is recorded and also you are part of the district directory for judging. We will take a 5-minute bio break. At the end of 5 minutes, we will come back and then start the Chief Judge's session. Please enjoy the bio break for 5 minutes. Thank you.
5 minutes over.
All right, let's begin the Chief Judge's training session. Good afternoon, everybody, once again, and welcome to the Chief Judge's training session. In this session, we are going to look at the roles and responsibilities of the Chief Judge per se. We're going to look at how the Chief Judge can perform a perfect duty and serve the contestants to the best. Obviously, subject to meeting the eligibility criteria. The Chief Judge should be eligible to be a Chief Judge. So let's go over a few fundamentals and look at what needs to be done here. The scope of the Chief Judge starts way before the contest. Those of you who attended the contest training yesterday would have seen a timeline where it mentions that almost 8 weeks prior to the contest, the Chief Judge should be identified. And that's a time when the Chief Judge starts to identify the judges and hire and put the judges team together in place. There are things to be done in contest, obviously, and then there are things to be done after the contest. We will discuss all these scope of work in today's session. But do not forget your resources. No matter whatever I will tell you today, your go-to resources are: number one, the speech contest rule book; number two, the online speech contest best practices book; number three, the speech contest training on TI portal; and number four, the speech contest at toastmasters.org email ID. If you are a Chief Judge, these four resources will help you to find out answers to most of your queries wherever you are. So pre-contest. Pre-contest work is to read the Toastmasters contest book fully all over again. Keep a copy with you all the time. The newly provided online guide is a beautiful document of about 15 pages, which deals with various scenarios of the online contest. Use this tool to understand the online guidelines, requirements, and functions of a Chief Judge. And in about a week's time, the district will provide you with a handbook, which will have many, many more tools and resources for you. Please ensure that you have all these four documents with you, 3 documents with you, and you have gone through them fully. In the pre-contest period, you have to contact the contest chair and the organizers to understand the logistics of the contest. Now, what does the logistics of the contest means? One of the big dilemmas that we always have is who is going to appoint the judges. Is the judges going to be appointed by the contest chair or the organizer or the chief judge? Well, as a guideline and a protocol, we suggest that the chief judge should form his team of judges. But given the fact that there are 250 clubs in the district and we are going to run the contest parallel back to back daily almost, is going to be quite a hassle if you are a chief judge in multiple contests. So it's okay to align with the contest chair and take their help to identify chief judges. Who will bring the table topics? Who is arranging for test speakers? Please finalize all these elements. As per the guidelines, the table topics are arranged by the contest chair, and so is the test speaker. However, if there's a difference of opinion, you can always get together and agree on the agreed mode of doing things. The stationery, which used to be a physical ballot paper, has now become a digital paper. It can be supplied with a link. You can share the links of the ballot papers, or if you are using a digital Excel sheet, please provide that to your fellow judges. The eligibility needs to be checked. The availability of role players, timers, telecounters, and the go-to person. Go-to person is the person who is a troubleshooter. If it's a division level contest, area level contest, you might want to appoint a knowledgeable person whom you can go to or refer to in case you face any challenges. In the main contest, this is a recommended number of judges. At a club contest, 5 voting judges plus 1 tiebreaker, 2 timer, and 3 telecounters. The timer and telecounters remain the same, and the tiebreaker. The number of judges keeps changing. For area, we recommend 5, for division 7, and for district also 7, but they are minimum. But let's go back to the rule book, and whatever the rule book says, please follow those norms. One of the main fundamental responsibilities of the chief judge is to do a judge's briefing. In the physical contest mode, we used to do judge's briefing usually on the same day of the contest. In an online scenario, please do not do a same day briefing. It is recommended, highly recommended, to do the judge's briefing at least 48 hours before the time of the contest. That is 2 days before the contest. And why should you do that? You should do that because there is a lot of digital online logistics involved. We will need to agree on how the ballots are going to be submitted. We are going to do a mock of that. We're going to test it out. Who to send the ballots? What is the WhatsApp number of the telecounter? What is the WhatsApp number of the backup chief judge in case of a failure of chief judge? What kind of ballot paper will be submitted? So you need time for all that. If the chief judge does this exercise before the contest, there is going to be a lot of problems coming up. So strongly recommended that the judge's briefing should be done 48 hours prior to the contest. Use a written script. The written scripts are available on various platforms. We will provide a written script in the handbook from district. Ensure that you have collected the judge certificate of eligibility, code of conduct, ethics, confidentiality information beforehand. Even I would recommend that the speech contest logistics and speaking order is cleared here itself. The speech contest briefing for contestants should also be done 2 days in advance, and the speaking order should now be provided to judges at this point, if not done. Ensure that all the judges' criteria, as DTM Sandeep had mentioned, should be reminded in this briefing. This briefing, we should take time to read out one by one all the criteria. The protest rules and procedures should be discussed here. And one of the main things which is going to come up in online contests is technology breakdown rules. What will we do if the speaker loses connection after 1 minute? What will we do after 5 minutes? What will we do if he gets locked out? Now, I'm not going to answer all those questions today because the district has prepared a very extensive checklist and Excel sheet for that. That will be shared with you along with district handbook. But please ensure that you discuss it here. In different scenarios, the chief judge will have to take a different decision. Is the breakdown of what nature? Is the breakdown of a technological nature? Is it of audio nature? Is it timer nature? So there are multiple scenarios. It is good that those scenarios are discussed in the judge's briefing. So one of the things that changes from a physical contest to an online contest is the judges' briefings are going to be longer. So please be prepared to do a 45 minutes to a 1 hour briefing because we want to serve the contestants the best. At the day of the contest, please log in early, 15 to 30 minutes early. Check the contestants' breakout rooms if you are going to use the breakout room for table topic and evaluation. Just check the technical system. Check the timing backgrounds that are going to be used by the timers. Check the attendance of all the judges, timers, and telecounters, and ensure that the renaming has been done as per the protocol agreed. It is recommended the judges should remove their profile pictures and they should remove their names, and they should only be called as Judge 1, Judge 2, Judge 3, Judge 4, and the Chief Judge. Similarly for timers, similarly for contest chair and Zoom masters. Judges' identity should be kept confidential. They should not name themselves as judges want as their name and then judge. And also keep their cameras switched off at all times. Since it is a digital platform, in case a contestant has to raise a concern or a protest, he or she has to do it with the contest chair or the chief judge. Therefore, before the beginning of the contest, please ensure that the contestants and key role players have the contact number and WhatsApp number of the contest chair and the chief judge. And when asked, give the permission to begin the contest. We are all familiar with these timer sheets. Please download them from TMI website and use these for the timing instructions. The counter and tally sheets, again, is a standard format we've been using for many years. At the end of the contest, after the contest is over, and before the results are announced, the chief judge and the tally ballot counters do some work together. We collect the timing sheet, we collect the ballots, we resolve any eligibility or originality protests, and then we oversee the counting process in the breakout room. It is recommended to do it twice. And then we provide the winner's name to the contest chair. One of the things that happens is when a protest is raised, is the chief judge wants to meet all the judges. How to do that? If you announce all the judges, please come to the breakout room, we have a protest to be discussed, it creates a little unhappy scenario in the contest. What I only recommend is that create a statement, which is a very generic statement. And if the statement is spoken by the contest chair, it is a message or a signal to all the judges to go to a breakout room. Alternatively, the Zoom master can also move the judges to the breakout room, or you can communicate that on a WhatsApp message. The statement can be, the weather in Dubai is very nice today. This is a statement as an indication to judges, it's time to go to the breakout room to discuss a protest. So please ensure that there is a mechanism in place of communicating to judges that they need to come to the breakout rooms now to discuss some kind of a breakouts. What else needs to be done? We need to provide the notification of the contest winner. Using this notification sheet, which has all the details, whether the contest is of a club level, a area level, a division or district level, we provide the list of all the contestants and their placements, not just the first three. And why do we do that is that if the contestants move into the next level, if one of the contestants is not available, the next placed contestant can be sent to the next level. This sheet is provided to the contest chair for all the contestants. Now, a few things about the contestants' eligibility. The contest chair, chief judges, voting judges, tiebreaker judges, timers, counters, sergeant-at-arms, and test speakers may not compete in the contest that they are serving. I repeat, may not compete in the contest that they are serving. And Toastmasters who are members in more than one club and they are meeting the eligibility requirement are permitted to compete in each of the club contests. However, they are permitted to compete in only one area speech contest, even if the two areas are in different divisions or different districts. So simply speaking, I cannot participate in table topic contest in area 1 and area 2, although I might be a member of both the areas. This is the speaker's eligibility and originality certificate, and this needs to be submitted to the chief judge by the contest chair before the beginning of the session of the contest. To be a chief judge, a voting judge, or a tiebreaker judge, there are certain eligibility rules. The basic eligibility rule as a club level is that you need to be a paid member. But as we move on to the next levels of the contest, for an area contest, a division contest, or a district contest, you should be a paid member for a minimum of 6 months. And if you come from the previous curriculum, you should have completed 6 speeches in competent communicator. And if you are in the pathways curriculum, minimum 2 levels in the Toastmasters pathways should have been completed. This qualifies you to be a chief judge, voting judge, or a tiebreaker judge at an area, division, and district. A certificate of eligibility and code of ethics is required to be signed by each of the judges. And since it is a digital platform, this can be done digitally and shared with the chief judge over electronic media or a WhatsApp. Some questions were being asked today, I was seeing in the first session about the originality of the content. Now, originality remains a big subject and we should understand it fully. The premise of a speech contest is that the contestants must create their own speeches and each of them must be substantially original. We're all aware of the 25% rule, which has been there for many years. That 25% of a speech can be quoted, paraphrased, or referenced from another content. But it should be identified. We should identify the source or from where I have taken that content. A new rule which has come in from this year is that contestants must not reference another contestant. I repeat, contestants must not reference another contestant or a speech presented by another contestant from the platform at the same contest in which they are competing. So if I am a humorous speaker and my sequence in humorous speech is, let's say, number 5, and 4 speakers have spoken before me, I should not be referencing to any of the content in the first 1, 2, 3, 4 speakers. There was a question also, if somebody has already prepared the same content as the first or second speaker, what do I do? We don't know what to do, but the rule says it should not be referenced to another content, another contestant's speech. It is better to prepare own speeches, substantially original speeches, then the chances of having similar speeches will go away. Before all the contests, every contestant has to certify to the chief judge that the content of their speech is or will be substantially original. That's where the certificate of eligibility and originality is used. Another situation is when the contestant is absent from the briefing. Now, if the contestant does not attend a briefing with the contest chair, the alternate speaker, if present, is allowed to attend the briefing, and he can also be allowed to take the draw of lots. But if the contestant informs the contest chair that he is willing to not attend the briefing and he's appointing somebody else to attend the briefing on his behalf, that can be accepted. But if the primary contestant is not present at the contest when the contest is starting, or the technical term is when the person conducting the contest is introduced, which is the contest chair, the primary contestant is disqualified. I repeat, if at the beginning of the contest, when the contest chair is being introduced and contest chair reads out the names of all the participants, if any of the participants is not present, he or she is disqualified and the alternate becomes the contestant. The exception is for briefing is that if the primary contestant misses the briefing, he or she is permitted to compete, provided before the contest the contestant has informed that he will be late. He reports to the contest chair immediately on arrival and has required paperwork in good order and waives off the opportunity of briefing. But again, this cannot be done after the contest has started. Reports to the contest chair before the contest has started. How to use the scoring in the digital platform? The ballot and tiebreaker. Earlier, we used to have the physical ballots, the tally counters, the ballot counters, used to collect them from all the judges. Along with the chief judge, we used to go to a room where we used to sit together, take out the tally sheet and do the tallying together. But now, for an online platform, things are a little different. It is recommended that the ballots are sent by the judges to 3 tally counters and chief judge separately. Please highlight the word separately using WhatsApp or any email or whatever digital format that you will use for. Please do not create a WhatsApp group of tally counter and chief judge and judges where you will post the ballots. The ballots have to be sent independently to 3 tally counters and the 4th one to the chief judge. Once all the ballots have been collected, all the ballot counters and chief judges should leave the main room and proceed to the breakout counting room. All the ballot counters will tabulate the results independently. Each one of them, the 3 tally counters will tabulate the results independently. They will write their name on the tally sheet. And once it has been done, they will share those sheets with the other tally counters and the chief judge. This is to maintain complete transparency, that not anybody has a chance to change any scores anywhere. Each tally counter provides the chief judge and the other tally counters with the sheet. The chief judge looks at any disqualification from time, and if any changes are required in the ordering, he or she will then change the order of the winners based on time disqualification. You're all familiar with this tally counter sheet, and in this sheet, the name of the judges and the name of the contestant goes up. The first place winner gets 3 marks, the second place 2 marks, and the third place 1 mark. Once we have completed this whole activity and exercise, the winners list is ready. We will then tabulate and give the notification of contest winner to the contest chair, or if it is a district level, then we will have to send it to the world headquarters to announce who is the winner from district. Tie-breaking guidelines. Now this is interesting. When we are doing tie-breaking, the different scenarios can come up. First thing to ensure is that the tie-breaking judge is a secret and he is known only to chief judge. The tally counters do not know who's a tie-breaking judge. However, in the case of a tie-breaking, the tie-breaking judge's ballot will have to be shown and shared with the tally counter by the chief judge in an online scenario. The chief judge collects a tiebreaker's ballot and keeps it with himself or herself unless it is required to be used. In the event of a tie, we will use the tiebreaker ballot sheet. The guidelines are, if 2 contestants are tied or 3 contestants are tied, the one which receives the highest ranking on the tie-breaking judge's ballot will gain the contested place, and any other tied contestants will be ranked in order behind that contestant. Let's look at a real life scenario in another slide. In a speech contest where 3 or more than 3 contestants are participating, there will be announcement of 3 winners: third place, second place, and a third place. Remember this. Even if there are 3 contestants, there will be a third place winner, a second place winner, and a first place winner. If there are less than 3, if there are 2, then second place and first place. And if the contest has only 1 participant, then only a first place winner will be qualified. It is possible that a contest can be held with 1 contestant, and the contestant can get disqualified if it does not meet the timing, originality, or eligibility requirements. This is how a tiebreaker ballot looks like. In this ballot, instead of ranking 3 top winners, the tiebreaker judge ranks from first place till the 10th place all the speakers in his order of ranking. Let's take an exercise to see what can be done in a tiebreaker. And I would invite you to work with me on the chat as we do this. So suppose this is the final tally counting. This is where we have got the scores, the tally counting has been done. All the 3 tally counter scores are similar. We get John 8 points, Ahmed 10, Shri 9, Deepa 8, and Sachin 6. So who are the 2 people who are tied here? Please put in the chat. John and Deepa. Wow, John and Deepa are tied. And they are tied for the 3rd place. Because the first place, Ahmed has got 10 points, it is clear. For the second place, Shri has 9 points, and it is also clear. But the 3rd place, we see a tie. In this case, we will now go and open the tiebreaker ballot. Let's see what the tiebreaker ballot says. Look at this tiebreaker ballot. And now, can you please tell me in the chat box, who are the first place, second place, and the 3rd place? So first place is clear, it is Ahmed. Second place is Shri. Who is the 3rd place now? Great, everybody is clear. It is Ahmed, first place, Shri, second place, and John, 3rd place. Fantastic. Thank you for participating. Let's look at another scenario now. This is the tally count by all the tally counters. The same contestants, but we have changed the scores a little bit. Now, who are the people who are at tie here? Can you please put on the chat? Ahmed and Shri are tied for first position, and Deepa and John for second position. So there are 2 ties now. Let's look at the tiebreakers ballot here. And now tell me who is the winner, who is second place, who is 3rd place. You're right. The first place goes to Shri because in the tiebreakers ballot, Shri is on the higher ranking than Ahmed. And so Ahmed moves to the second position. And then the next tiebreakers between John and Deepa, because John is higher than Deepa, so John moved to the 3rd position. Great. So thank you. This was a short exercise to understand how we can look at tiebreaker and use them for various things. Announcement of winners for a chief judge is a very crucial time, and announcement of contest winners is final at the contest. No protest, no objection can be accepted after the winners have been announced by the contest chair. in the presence of the chief judge. In a physical contest, the chief judge, ballot counter, and timers are permitted to interrupt if there is an error. Like, for example, if Ramaswamy was second place winner and Viju was first place winner, and the contest chair says the second place winner is Viju, any of the persons from chief judge, ballot counter, or timers are permitted to interrupt and say, sorry, there's a correction here. Now, to do this, the microphones of the chief judge, ballot counter, and timer should be kept open at this time. Because if they are not able to inform the contest chair of the error and the contest chair announces a false result, it might be a very difficult situation to manage. We discussed about protest and disqualification in judges training also. And once again, let me repeat, protests are limited to eligibility and originality. And they can only be lodged by voting judges and contestants. The audience cannot lodge a protest. The contest chair cannot lodge a protest. The timer, telecounter, ballot counter, sergeant at arms cannot lodge a protest. Protests are limited to eligibility and originality and only by voting judges and contestants. The protest has to be lodged with the chief judge or contest chair prior to the announcement of winners. Before a contestant can be disqualified, the chief judge has to give the opportunity to the contestant who is raising the protest and to the contestant against whom the protest is being raised. Ideally, in a physical contest, we take them to a separate area. We ask each one of them independently their views, evidences of proving that the subject is not original. They have to demonstrate it to us on what basis they are putting up the protest. If they are not able to protest, if they are not able to prove it, then it is not accepted. Once both the parties have been heard, the majority of the voting judges have to do a consensus and concur in the decision to disqualify a contestant. There's some interesting common scenarios that happen in a speech contest many times. Protests on time disqualifications happen. So, protest on time disqualification, can a contestant come up and say there is a disqualification because I video recorded the contestant and he overshot the time by 30 seconds and your timer is not saying it? No. The timing sheet is what the chief judge goes with and not with anything else. And that's why we should have qualified timers. We should have people who have done good work in this, who understand the various disruption scenarios and are able to monitor timing devices very carefully. My request to all of you who are going to be contest chair and chief judges, ensure that the timer is one of the most qualified persons to handle the contest, especially at the higher levels. Can use of live props be can be a objection? Would somebody like to put it in the chat box? Can we use live props? Live props mean, can I bring a dog, a cat? Interesting. We can use live props. There is nothing to stop anybody from using a live prop. Okay. Can use of PowerPoint and videos be allowed? Yes or no? Yes, PowerPoints, videos can be allowed. Can a protest be lodged for improper language usage? Protest cannot be lodged for improper language usage. The judges can take their own decisions based on their judging parameters. The material copied from somewhere, we've already discussed this. Candidate for a district position, is he allowed to contest? No. If anybody is contesting for an area director, division director, district director, program quality director, or any other international position should not be contesting, and it is not allowed. Sound breakdown is what to do in the case of a sound breakdown. Sound breakdown, internet breakdown, and timing device breakdown are going to be the hot subjects for everybody who's going to participate in the contests. So as of now, we will not be giving you any guidelines on these. Please refer to the handbook, which is going to come to you in 1 week's time. We have built multiple scenarios which will indicate what you should do when an internet connection of a contestant breaks down in the middle of the speech. What you should do if the timing device breaks down. So all those things will be given in the handbook in detail. Can club coach participate in a contest? Yes, club coach is not a district officer. He can participate in a contest. So fellow judges and all those judges who are ready to take on the judging role, let me conclude by saying that there is so much of information and wealth that we can share with each other. But at the core of all that is two things. Refer to the rule book guidelines of Toastmasters International. Please do not create your own rule book. Please do not go by what has been done in our club ever since. That does not qualify to be right. We have to be in integrity with the guidelines provided by the Toastmasters International. We have to respect the fellow contestant, the fellow judges, and the opinions of everybody. We are doing a service by being a chief judge, and we should do it with excellence. People should say, this judge made real good decisions. These are basic values of Toastmasters International. And we strongly, strongly recommend that you and me, we all follow this. As a judge, you have a soft glove, but have an iron glove on that. You are a judge. You are a chief judge. You have a responsibility to the contestants, to the audience, and to everybody to make the right decisions. Prepare well, and thank you for attending this session. We will end this training session here now, and I invite DTM Sandeep Vengsarkar to join me, and we will now take some questions. Before that, once again, the Google form for capturing your attendance and your information is posted in the chat box. Please take a minute and fill that up. You may now post your questions in the chat box, and we will take it up from now. Sandeep, have you already got some questions? Would you like to answer anything?
Yeah. So there are a few questions that I have picked up from the chat. So somewhere related to your session. So because that is fresh on everyone's mind, let me just start with them. I will ask you the question, and if you can answer, and then we will move upwards to what I had. So one of the questions that came up was, let's take in a contest, there are 5 contestants. All judges have 3 contestants ranked as 1, 2, and 3. And then we find that one of the contestants is disqualified for time. What do we do?
We have only 2 contestants left, and we will be giving awards to first place and second place.
So that was one with respect to this thing. The next one was, club holds a contest with 1 contestant. Contestant gets disqualified for time. Can the club nominate another person as a contestant?
Well, if you have held a contest and the person has got disqualified, obviously that person cannot go further. But the clubs have an option of nominating their participants to the area contest.
Then one other question which was there for your session, DTM Gurbinder, was a contestant was not eligible at the club level itself, but someone missed it and he ended up at, let's say, the area or the division level. Will we disqualify the person?
Yes, he will be disqualified from any further progression as soon as the disqualification is discovered.
Okay. And I think this was one question which was related to that one slide on the 25% and the referencing of the prior speaker. Right now, if I am referencing a prior speaker, but if it is less than 25%, is that a disqualification?
Yes, it is a disqualification. 25% is not about the prior speaker. That is about taking content from elsewhere. For a prior speaker, even if I take a less content, it will be a disqualification.
Okay, thank you. So those were, I think, the ones which were related to what you had, but there are a few other things which I think would be relevant to a chief judge's thing, which is
let me ask a few questions to you here, Sandeep, because some have
Yeah.
come up here. So let me.
Yeah.
So one of the question is, can the contestant use a moving camera and film around the place?
No, because it is a speaking area that needs to get defined upfront. The other thing, as per the guidelines of the rule book, it has to be a fixed camera in a fixed position. The online contest guideline in the rule book says it has to be a fixed camera. It cannot even be a camera which zooms in and out.
Yes.
It has to be a fixed camera.
And there are video guidelines given in the TI rule book. You can refer to that also. One of the questions here is that, as far as I'm aware, the sex, religion, and politics norm is just a norm for the region and not a TM rule. So could you clarify if a judge can suggest disqualifying someone because they broach these topics in their speeches?
So again, if you go back to this thing, this is a point for the judge to mark down a person, but it cannot be a protest and a disqualification point when you are judging. If this is one of the taboo topics, you can mark it down, but I don't think this can be a protest topic for a disqualification of a contest.
Okay. Can virtual backgrounds be used?
I frankly don't know that. I had that noted down, and this was something which I was going to say that I will need to come back to them in terms of that.
Well, if we look at the TI international guidelines, they suggest we should not use backgrounds. We should use a clear backdrop, white wall as far as possible. But we do not have an exact guideline on it yet. We will come back to
you. Yeah. So, I would say that a lot of times if you are going to use a PowerPoint, you could use the background as a substitute for a PowerPoint. But I will leave it for TMI to come back on that specific point. There was one question which came in, especially for the evaluation contest, that when the contestants are making notes, can they make notes online for the evaluation contest and not on the piece of paper? And I think my response to that is no, because very similar, we need to ensure that we see that in front of us when the person is taking notes for the evaluation contest.
Exactly. So the notes have to be taken on a white paper. They have to be visible to the contest, the sergeant at arms in the room. They should be able to see it very clearly.
Yeah. There was one question which I think has come again. Originality in a humorous speech contest. Can the judges lodge a protest on originality in a humorous speech contest?
Well, if it's originality, definitely a protest can be launched.
Right. I think those were the main things. I am just going through this. If there is, okay, one other question, proof of originality. I might have heard, I might vaguely remember hearing the speech somewhere. I lodge a protest, but I can't basically say that this is the exact speech, this is the exact point. So what do I do?
Well, you have to demonstrate and prove and give evidence of your protest.
Okay, I think those were the main things. I think the other questions you have basically covered a lot of points. There were three points which 2 points which I missed as a part of my ballot paper briefing. Is the number one is that every position needs to have only one name and cannot have two names for your. Even if the judge at the end of it, as a part of the tally, finds that there is a tie, he or she needs to break the tie at his and her end before sending that tally sheet, that part to the chief judge.
Right.
If there are two names, it will be considered as a void judging ballot.
Correct.
The other thing which I basically checked up, and this happens especially in an online speech contest, is that the time taken should not be taken into consideration when judging the contestants. In a physical contest, we normally used to have the timing device way back so the judges couldn't see it, but that is not possible in an online contest. So then it's left to the integrity of the judge that he completely ignores the timing mechanism and judges purely based on what he or she sees.
Correct.
I think that's all the questions that I have. Any other questions? Maybe
there is one question which has come up. Can we pull content from a speaker from a different category at the same event? Well, this is a new rule. I have not tried it so far, so I would not comment on it, but I would, as a contestant, not want to do it.
Yeah.
Because it can be interpreted as taking content from another contestant.
Yeah.
All right. I may remember. Janaki, we will need to discuss it in detail. I think you have a very detailed requirement on the originality. Maybe we can cover it separately on a one-to-one.
Yeah.
Should we have a backup chief judge in online meeting? Okay, that's a good question. And as we discussed it earlier, yes, we recommend to have a backup for as many roles as you can arrange for. Definitely, judges should be backed up with additional judges, because this connection is not only going to happen to contestants, it will happen to judges also. So if you lose out on a judge, then there should be a backup judge available to you. Also for chief judge, I might not say another chief judge, but a backup chief judge should be available. We have given these guidelines in the handbook from district, which is going to come to you very soon. And since all of you have filled up this form, you will get an email directly from us in the next 1 week or so. The links for today's training is this is on the YouTube. You will be able to get this on District 105 YouTube channel forever. You can share with other people. And all the trainings that are coming up from program quality, club growth, PR are all on the District 105 YouTube channel. Please use them for all the learning. I think this session has been very good, and we will not be able to take any more questions now. We are running a little late. As of now, we've said we'll finish at 12:30. Thank you once again, everybody, DTM Sandeep, Sanila, fantastic job done today. All the team members, Ramaswamy, Raminder, Chitlur, all of you who have supported us backend, and Nisreen for constantly giving us the links for the attendance sheet. Thank you, all the attendance. As I said, this is the largest, biggest ever for the district. We covered 350 people in the morning. And now they've been seeing my face for last 2.5 hours, so it has come down to 208. But as I told you, I'm the PQD for another few months, so you have to keep looking at this beautiful face for a few months. Thank you very, very much, and appreciate your time. Thank you. Bye-bye. Goodbye, everybody. Zoom Master, can you unmute everybody? Let people.
So they are already unmuted.
Okay, great.
I request for a couple of pictures, sir.
Get a picture done. Please come on the screen.